Hey guys, this is Coach Tex. Remember at DFW Penguin Basketball, penguinhoops.com. Hey guys, like, comment, share this with a friend, share this with someone that has a kid that plays sports, especially if they play basketball. But today's topic, as you can see from the title below, okay, these are the reasons, my personal 7 reasons why your kid will get cut from the team. All right, now there are a few reasons. Now I'm speaking on this from personal experience, from me being a coach. I didn't coach middle school basketball, but I know exactly what a lot of my peers, I know a lot of middle school, high school coaches, and collegiate coaches as well. And we talk about this stuff all the time. And you know, I'll put my own spin on it a little bit, but from what I've known or what I've heard, these are the 7 main reasons as to why a kid will get cut from the team. So let's start off with number 1. Number 1, your kid already went into the tryout thinking they're gonna get cut. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that your kid is already defeated. They probably feel like, oh, okay, I know Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. You know, they're gonna already have the spots down on the guard spots on the team. So the best thing for me to do is I'll probably be on the B team maybe, but then it's Ricky, Mike, and Johnny, and then they're gonna be the other guards. So like, I'll just try it out. Maybe I'll make it. So a lot of coaches can read if a kid is defeated. It's their job to be able to read talent, and some coaches are better than others. But for the main part, if your kid goes into tryouts and they're already defeated and they feel like they're not gonna make it, they're probably not going to make it. Okay, maybe because they didn't put in the preparation and work beforehand, or they already have a feeling from them probably playing football or something like that, or from talks from other kids around campus, or who's going to have these certain spots, who's going to compete. But if they already go into it thinking that they're going to lose, they probably are going to lose. So if you're a parent, you want to talk them up as much as possible, and tell them to give them their best before trials. All right. Number 2, this is a really big one to me. A lot of kids do not prepare enough before trials. What I mean by that is they don't work out, they don't put in enough hours, they don't put in enough time, they don't put in enough effort. A lot of kids don't even go to their own school teams, or not school teams, they don't even go to their own summer league teams practices enough to get the reps that they need. And especially if the kid knows that he's behind or she's behind, they really need to be putting in a lot of effort before tryouts, because the bare minimum a lot of times is not enough depending on what middle school you're at. And it is devastating to a lot of kids when they show up and that kid that, you know, they've been playing against since the 2nd grade and they've been dominating in AAU and club ball, that kid shows up and he's 10 times better before tryouts, and they never would have thought this. So they line it up against these guys or this guy, and this kid is kicking their butt at tryouts, and they don't know what's going on. They can't put in the extra work because they knew they were behind. So what you want to do as a parent, you want to try to give them, not push them too hard, but you want to give them every opportunity in the world to try to prepare themselves for trials, because it's a rough world out there. You know, in my area where I'm at, there are about 60 plus kids trying out for 24 spots, and if you're lucky, if they have a C team, which you definitely don't want to start off there. But, you know, making the team is making the team. But, you know, if there are only 34 spots out of 60, 70 kids trying out, that kid, you got to be well prepared to try out. Number 3, you didn't stand out during tryouts. There are some kids that are a lot better than other kids that make the team, right? And we all know that. Some coaches just don't have a good eye for talent. And one of the main things that a lot of kids don't do when they're lining up in drills and stuff like that, you know, some kids are just shy and they stand in the back of the lines, okay, and never get a lot of reps for the coaches to see them. You know, most of the kids, if you're a tall kid or you're a big kid, you're naturally gonna be seen. If you're really fast and super skillful, you know, a lot of times the coaches already know who's the basketball player in the school, who's the football guy in the school. You know, but if your son is not well known by the coaches, or your son or daughter doesn't have a class where the coach is teaching them, where they would know them, you know, and they don't do anything to stand out during tryouts, they may get overlooked. Number 4, the coach did not like your kid's attitude. It happens, okay? I'll just be honest. If I had a kid in my program to where they were about the same. They were about the same skill level and speed and height. And I had one kid with a bad attitude that had something to say every time I said something to him or corrected him, and one kid that just said yes sir and okay. Who do you think I'm going with? So if your kid has a bad attitude during tryouts, remember, you as a parent, you're not able to be there. So you don't get to see what the interaction is like between your kid and the coach. You can only go by what your kid tells you when they come home. So that may be a factor into it. And a lot of times some coaches, you won't know that that's the reason why your kid got cut or didn't make the team, is that's the reason why until you talk to the coach. So gotta get that attitude in check. Number 5, during tryouts, your kid didn't catch on fast enough. Okay, so if they're learning plays or they're learning certain drills, and your kid is just making mistakes over and over and over, and everyone else is not making that mistake repeatedly, then a lot of times that's a telltale sign to a coach that this kid, even though they may be a little bit talented, you know, some of these coaches are lazy. They don't want to put in that work with a kid to help them understand it if they got 15 other kids that can do it just as well or better and catch on a lot faster. So that's where basketball IQ comes in a lot. And you think about a lot of kids that I have in my program, they're not as skilled as some of the kids that they make the team over, but they understand jargon and they understand basketball. They have a higher basketball IQ than a lot of other kids in their age, and a lot of, even some of the coaches and adults, the kids in my program, they really understand basketball if they've been with me for a while, and that goes a long way. So if your kid's not catching on during tryouts, it may be rough for them. Number 6, and this is something that just sucks, okay? Sometimes you have a lot of kids that plays your child's position and they just don't make it. So if your kid is a small guard and he can't play the point though, and they got 3 other kids that are really good guards, or they have 12 other kids that are just really, really good, but they need posts, and your kid can't play the post, that's just how it sums up sometimes, like I said, a lot of these coaches, especially in middle school, they don't really have an eye for talent, and they don't really care as much. They just kind of are coaching just to coach. A lot of these middle school coaches and a lot of 9th grade coaches, they don't have a real passion for it. They're just kind of doing it to do it. But if they don't have the eye for it, it's a little hard for them. And if your kid is just caught lost in the sauce of too many kids and they're playing the same position, they're just slightly better, or they just don't get seen or get noticed by the coach, that could be another reason. And number 7, okay, I want to be honest with you guys, okay, and this is a lot of stuff that a lot of parents and a lot of kids just don't understand, and it's a hard pill to swallow as a kid and as a parent, okay. This is number 7, okay, and this is something that you cannot control at times, okay. The other players on the team that made the team, they're just simply better, more skilled, more talented, taller, bigger, faster than your kid at that time. Now, that doesn't mean that in the 7th grade, your kid doesn't make the team, or he may be on the C team or B team, that in the 9th grade or 8th grade, they won't move up. They won't get better. And that all depends on how much work you do. But at the time, if your kid doesn't make the team that they want to make, a lot of times, okay, they're just not better than the kids that get chosen. And you too, as a parent, we're all biased. Like I'm biased on my own kids in my program, but I'm a little bit more realistic because I don't have a parently tie to the kids. But I'm more biased with my kids than any other kids. When I go to games, like, hey, I'm watching. If I'm going to see my kid that plays, one of my players that's in the 7th grade, and he's on the B team, and I'm watching the A team first, I'm wondering, okay, well, why is my guy on the B team when he's better than 6 of the guards, or he's better than 4 of the guards on the other team, But at the end of the day, we don't know how they're performing in practice. We don't know how they're performing in the other games that we don't see. We don't see all of that. We just see what we see at the moment. So at some point, or at times, the kids that your kid is lined up against at tryouts are just better than them for that week or 2 weeks during tryouts. Okay, maybe your kid is nervous. Maybe they're just having an off 2 weeks. It happens, and you can't let that get you down. You got to keep pushing. If being good at basketball is something that you want to do, you have to continue to work at it. All right, guys, I hope they helped you guys out. Let me know what you think about it. Like, comment, subscribe. Share this with someone that has a kid that plays sports. This may be able to get them through a rough spell or prepare them for tryouts this year. All right, I'll see you guys later.